Suffering in silence can lead to low self-esteem, you questioning your own judgment. For me, there's been times that I literally would think in my mind about all the things that I was struggling with as it relates to being in a relationship with my entrepreneur husband, and asking myself, is this really the person that I was supposed to be with? Is this the man that was created for me? Is this the man that I was supposed to marry? Because this is not the life that I expected whenever I got married. And welcome to Real Talks with an Entrepreneur's Wife's podcast with Janell. I am Janell, your friend, your sister, here in this journey of being in a relationship with an entrepreneur. And today I wanted to do a quick video to talk about something that oftentimes we either don't know how to put words to it or we're embarrassed to put words to it. And that is that thing called suffering in silence. Suffering in silence. As women, as mothers, as wives, as partners of entrepreneurs, as professionals ourselves, oftentimes we carry so much. We do so much. We have so many responsibilities, but in our outward appearances, we're doing the things, we're smiling, we're cheering on our family, we're cheering on our friends, we're cheering on our spouses or our significant other, our, partner who is an entrepreneur, all while inside we're suffering in silence, not saying a word, not telling anyone, thinking that this is just us being strong. And over time, things will get better. People will say time heals all wounds. Time heals suffering. Time heals struggles. Tell you that time does not. Time does not heal all wounds. Time does not heal suffering, and time does not help you to get over struggles that you're dealing with. You actually have to deal with those things. And there's dangers. If you don't deal with the things that you're suffering with, there are dangers associated with suffering in silence. For instance, when we as women suffer in silence, although on our outer appearance, it may look like we're doing well. We're smiling, we're laughing, we're doing the things, but that only lasts for so long. Over time, the more we do that, suffering in silence is toxic and it will eventually seep out. And so how that might present itself is you may have a bad attitude. You might have a bad attitude. You may have low self-esteem. You may start to question your own judgment. You come up with these different thoughts in your head, creating stories around the thing that you're silently suffering with, that you haven't talked to someone about, going through the motions, going through the scenarios in your own head. And sometimes that is just not the best thing because your mind can default to negative thinking. And when that happens, that can lead to you having, again, a bad attitude, you projecting your negative energy, your negative attitude onto others. That could include your children. That can include your significant other, your partner, your husband. That can include the people that you're working with. One of the biggest groups of people in your lives that you don't want to exhibit or project your negative energy or your toxic energy because of you suffering in silence is your family. Your family is the ones that are there with you all the time. And I know that sometimes it can feel like they are the cause. It can seem like they're the ones contributing to you suffering in silence because as women, again, we do so much. We cover so much, cleaning the house, cooking the meals, taking care of the kids, helping with the homework, managing the bills, managing the schedules, managing the business. In some instances, we're helping our significant other with their business. We're helping to manage their schedules, where it's just so many things. And we're trying to take care of ourselves as well. But when you're projecting the negative energy and the negative attitude and behaviors on the people that are closest to you, that just makes it worse. I can attest to that. And that's how I know that suffering in silence is not good. Again, it can lead to low self-esteem, you questioning your own judgment. For me, there's been times that I literally would think in my mind about all the things that I was struggling with as it relates to being in a relationship with my entrepreneur husband, and asking myself, is this really the person that I was supposed to be with? Is this the man that was created for me? Is this the man that I was supposed to marry? Because this is not the life that I expected whenever I got married. And, suffering in silence can make you blow up little things and make it seem so big. And so I say that because in my mind, with what I just said, as I'm saying it, I'm thinking to myself, I'm realizing, wow, that sounds huge, and I would be totally wrong to portray that my life has just been not the greatest. My life has been good. There's been many of great days, many of great years, many of great, weeks and all those things. But sometimes minor things that we are suffering with internally that we don't take the time to have a conversation with someone about, it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And before you know it, that is the main thing that you see. And so that's just not what you want to do. So how do we deal with suffering in silence? I will say one of the biggest or first things you have to do is acknowledge that we're suffering. Us as women, again, sometimes we carry in the cape, we feel like we can do everything. And oftentimes we realize we need help, but we don't know how to ask for help, or we don't get the help that we want in the way that we want, or it's not done the way that we want it to get done. So we just do it ourselves, and then and then we're just doing everything. And it's not helpful. So one of the first things is to acknowledge that you're suffering in silence and to be able to ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign that we're human. Let me say that again, because I'm saying that for me too. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign that we are human. We were created on this earth to be in community. That's why God made so many of us. That's why God created family, because we're supposed to work together and work in community. So again, first thing, acknowledge that you're needing help and that you're suffering in silence. Also, self-care. My next recommendation is self-care. When lots of people hear the term self-care, they may think about having a spa day, going and get your nails done. I'm not one that have gone and got my nails done oftentimes, but anyway, don't think that self-care means you have to go out and spend money on getting your nails done, on getting massages and all these things that are costing extra money, where if money is an object for you, if money is a stressor for you, for some people, it might make them believe that they can't even take advantage of self-care. But self-care can be taken advantage of in different ways. First thing is prayer. Taking time to sit and pray is a way of self-care. Another way of self-care is meditation, simply going out for a walk, taking a walk, journaling. Oh my gosh, journaling. Journaling is a big opportunity for self-care. And when I say self-care doesn't mean simply being by yourself, because sometimes being by ourselves can result in us just getting more things done, getting more tasks done, checking off the boxes. But when I say self-care, that means you're taking care of you, taking care of your emotional self, being in tune with yourself, how you're feeling, what you're needing, what brings you joy, reading a book, listening to music, taking a walk, like I said. Those are all ways of implementing self-care so that you aren't suffering in silence. talking to someone. Talking to someone is a big one. It's so important that we acknowledge that we're suffering in silence and that we need help, and that we talk to someone and ask for help. That could be simply going to a counselor. I remember the first counselor that I had was a counselor that she was pretty much a listening ear. So I could go to her and just talk, and she would listen, and we would just have conversations. She was not, and maybe she does it for other people, but it's just a matter of what you're needing at that time. But that counselor for me was just someone that she was just like a listening ear. I was just bouncing things off of her. Whereas the most recent counselor that I have is someone that actually holds me accountable. She gives me homework and she gives me assignments to do so that I'm actively working on being better and solving problems and getting some resolution. So a counselor, taking advantage of getting counseling. Find you a friend that you trust. Somebody at your church. It might not even be somebody at your church, but make it somebody that you trust. Find somebody to talk to. Talk to your significant other. Talk to your spouse. Talk to your boyfriend, your fiance, whoever he is that is an entrepreneur. But I can tell you, they are not always going to understand. And that was part of my struggle. Not knowing how to say the thing that I wanted to say, that I felt like I needed to say, without it feeling like I'm tearing him down or discounting what he's bringing to the table or discounting his business or his efforts and what he's trying to do. So sometimes they may not understand, and sometimes you may not even know how to say what it is that you're trying to say about the issue that you're having, that you're suffering in. But one of the ways that I have discovered is a good way to express to your partner that you're suffering without tearing them down is simply to say, hey, I love supporting you in this business and I believe in what you're doing, but right now I'm struggling. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling unseen. Sometimes you just have to say that to them. And sometimes it may hit their ears the right way, and really and truly, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not hit their ears right, especially if it seems like you're complaining or, sometimes they just don't get it. So with that being said, you might have to find somebody else to talk to at different times, but you want to make sure that you're talking to someone that has your best interests in mind, has your best interests in heart, someone that is wise and can give you a different perspective, not necessarily to tell you what to do, but someone that is going to give a different insight or perspective that helps you to feel seen, heard, and understood without you feeling like your concern is being dismissed, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Let me just bring it back. So the person you talk to, you want to make sure that they're not always trying to fix, because oftentimes that is what your entrepreneurial husband or fiance or a significant other is trying to do. When they hear you talk about an issue or concern that you're having, oftentimes their objective is to fix what it is that you're having an issue with. And sometimes you're not even going to them for that. Sometimes the initial need that you have is just to be seen, heard, and understood. And so when you're finding someone that you're talking to, make sure they have your best interests in heart, that they are listening to you, asking you questions that can help you to come to your own conclusions sometimes is the best thing, and not dismissing what it is that you are having a concern with. Because oftentimes I know that if you are talking to someone and it feels like you're being dismissed, that just helps perpetuate the feeling of suffering in silence even more. It makes you not want to share. It makes you not want to talk to anyone. And so, find you someone to talk with. Check in with yourself daily. Check in with how you're feeling. Journaling, once again, can help with that. Make sure you're prioritizing your self-care. And one of the other things I'll say is release the guilt. Release the guilt of feeling like your struggles are an issue. Your struggles are you being a nag, or you being too needy, or not being satisfied, or hard to please. Release the guilt of that and reach out and get the help that you need. In closing, I just wanted to say that suffering in silence, there's dangers that are associated with suffering in silence. We have to be able to seek out the help. We have to be able to talk about the things that we're going through, rather it's through talking to another person, rather it's through this community. Once again, is the reason I'm bringing it to us. Find you someone that understands. And I am so looking forward to bringing some other women on this podcast to have those conversations, because I just know that you're going to see more examples of people that are experiencing the same things that you're experiencing. And it's going to make it so much easier when you can see and learn from people that have been there and done that. So in closing, communication is healing. Vulnerability is strength, and community. Having people that you can be real with is life-giving. When we speak up, we give ourselves the chance to be seen, heard, and understood. And we give our spouses, our significant others, the opportunity to love us better. And lastly, we give our hearts and our minds an opportunity to rest. Again, you've been here with Real Talks with an Entrepreneur's Wife's podcast with Janell. I am so glad that you took the opportunity to spend time with me today, and I look forward to speaking with you on the next episode. Bye.